Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Barbarian and this is Dev Diary number 119 for CK3 called Tours and Travel. And let me just tell you right now, before we jump into this, grab some coffee, grab some tea, maybe grab some food so that you don't starve, because this Dev Diary is massive. We're going to walk through everything, we're going to take a look at everything, analyze it, theorize and have some fun with it. And I gotta tell you this right now already. Last week we talked about the potential implications of what might be going on in this expansion and of course the accompanying free patch. I personally gotta tell you, I was very cautious about that. I was saying to myself, let's see where they're going, who knows what is going on, because there is so much freedom that can be done with this. Personally, for me, they definitely overshot my expectations by a good margin. We're going to explore all of this. I'm going to give you my opinion. I would love to hear your opinion. And we're also going to go over the dev responses here in the thread. There are quite a few because they're quite active here in this dev diary. And I gotta tell you again, let's just jump into this because this is so big. Any second that I use talking, even like right now, is a wasted second. We could spend it on this behemoth instead. My name is Chad, and this is my premiere here on the forums. Not only have we reworked feasts, hunts, and pilgrimages, they did mention that, but we have added a brand spanking new grand activities. Tours, tournaments, and grand weddings. This dev diary is just tours. Along with this rework comes the new travel system, which I'll be talking about in more detail later today. And the long-awaited Regencies feature, both free additions. So, the travel system and the Regency feature are both free additions. This is very much in line with the attitude that the CK3 team has communicated, I think, to everybody involved, the fan base, also at PDXCon, definitely without a doubt, that they want to take a look at the most baseline systems and put them into the free patch. Travel system, you no longer need any DLC. That stuff will be free. The modders that can work with this, that will be free. Everything involved can utilize the system, and that is true for Regencies as well. Big fan of this. This does mean, of course, that most, or rather the big applications for the travel system are behind the DLC, but in general, anything that isn't DLC gated is great. I've just recently, with the tier list, of course, I've just, gone through the actual DLCs for CK2, and it is astonishing to me what we had gated behind DLC back in the day. We're talking about stuff like rally points. Are you kidding me? Retinues, which is basically men-at-arms, behind DLC. Obviously, it was a different time, but my god, I don't want the time to come back, so definitely encouraging to see that the travel system and then indeed also the Regencies are free additions. You can expect to hear more about all these additions in subsequent dev diaries, so tournaments and grand weddings will be coming in the future. Right, travel. All of this is work in progress, please do keep that in mind. But let's talk about travel. Every character in the game now has a bona fide location. With a new travel mechanic in place, every character travels to activities that aren't held in their current location, including the AI. So this means if there is an activity that they participate in, a wedding, a grand wedding, I mean, a tournament, for example, a tour, a pilgrimage, what else is there? Meet the Peers is confirmed as well, the grand rites, all of these, every participant either is there already or must travel there. This is, I can't overstate just how much I love this. We had this in the Elder Kings 2 video where I traveled to bring the staff of the Everscam back into Cyrodiil, and it was just, I click the button, boom, I'm there. Here, we could make an activity out of that. All of a sudden, you actually need to travel there. I absolutely love this. Whenever you plan a grand tournament or accept an invitation to a vassal's feast, you now also have decisions to make about how you get there. Will you be daring and choose a dangerous route or play it safe? Who will you hire as your caravan master to ensure the journey goes smoothly? So the details when it comes to travel is something we also talked about, and I'm so eager to get into with this here because there's a lot going on there. The basics: speed, safety, danger. Every travel plan has two basic stats, speed and safety. Speed is represented by a percentage, where 100% is standard, roughly similar to army movement speed. To no one's surprise, this affects how fast a character moves from a province to another province. Safety is a value ranging from 1 to 100 and counteracts danger. You can expect to encounter a dazzling array of situations as you travel across the map. Perhaps you will encounter a hermit living among the wilderness. Right here we got a hermit event. Travel, the hermit. A grotto emerges from the vegetation like a stone arch in the cathedral. On its entry, there's a small wooden table and a stall. Someone has left a lantern burning on it. Careful, my liege. Gomez holds his arm up in front of my chest. There are bandits in these lands. You're quick to make accusations. A dimly illuminated figure stands in the entrance to the cave. I'm merely a hermit, and you must be a king. Look at that fella. He does look like a hermit. A hermit would be a great addition to my entourage. This is Babruisk. I'm not sure where this is, but this is the king of Castile. Babruisk, doesn't it sound Slavic? Where is he? How far did he travel for this? Well, how fortunate. Please tell me about my future, or let's just go. So we can make him join us, we can ask for our fortune, or we can just leave. Fair enough, this is just a travel event to begin with. Or perhaps you'll meet someone from a different culture who can speak your native tongue. Ooh, a cultural fascination. Ever since entering Tarnov, we're still Castile. I've been treated much like an animal in spectacular menagerie. The people stare in amazement at the mere way I speak and carry myself. Tarnów is Poland, right? Or is that Bohemia? I'm not sure. As we make our way through, I am suddenly approached by a peculiar and enthusiastic man who, unlike the rest of the crowd, seems to speak Iberian vulgar. My word, so it's true. A Castilian king here of all places. I have long admired Castilian customs, and I've even learned Iberian vulgar in my own time. What an honor it is. Look at that what a Castilaboo. The honor is all yours, or teach me about your people. This should be cultural acceptance, I assume, right? It could... Yeah, I assume it's cultural acceptance. So here you have a choice between these. It doesn't actually say what it is. Maybe I can... Oh, could this make it so that I can learn Polish in a much, much easier fashion? Interesting. Or maybe you will even chance upon a knight errant and convince them to join your entourage. Wait a minute. And then right here we have a knight errant. It is known that the people of Miranda de Ebro seem to profess a special devotion towards their knights and their legends. My lord, the knight says, bowing his head. It is most fortunate that you and I come to meet at this crossroad, for I am in search of a marvelous fountain whose water is said to cure all illnesses. If you were to help me in my quest, I shall pay homage to you. I shall never leave a knight unattended. Lead the way, join me, and forget about all that foolishness. Really nice armor you have there. Care to share coin? Oh, that is, first of all, that is really nice armor. That is just, Fate of Iberian armor, though, right? Well, either way, we're looking at a situation where this is an event. Man, I really wish that there was a quest to actually try and find the fountain that cures you of all illnesses. But yeah, there you go. These are rather different people that you can meet. Danger lurks in every corner of the map. Every province has a danger score. Every province has a danger score based on a variety of factors like terrain, county control, owner, etc. Traveling through the mountains might expose you to treacherous cliffs, while sailing the seas presents its own unique hazards. For example, right on a mountain trail, one foot after another, I slowly move forward on a narrow mountain trail. Suddenly I hear a rumble and a quickly silent scream. Shocked by the commotion, I whip around. Instead of Budislav walking behind me, there's only an equally befuddled and tired face of Trojan standing in front of freshly turned rocks. We are Vratislav here. Where's Budislav? I demand to know, my voice barely escaping my dry mouth. The only response is a faint whistling of the wind. Watch by your step, we must press forward. Or Budislav, we will save you. Ooh, and he seems to be our actual suffragan bishop right here. Interesting, so we could try to save him. I wonder whether that brings its own risks, because we are in the mountains. This guy's face. This guy's like, oh, what the hell is going on? Alright, what is this? Right, this is the danger on a ship. White Squall. White Squall, turn port. The coxswain's horrifying yell does not suit the calm weather, but my ears are filled with an increasingly louder roar of the wind. In less than a heartbeat, the moist white mist that engulfs the whole ship, louder than the wind, the main mast cracks and falls apart overboard. And as sudden as it came, the squall moves on. Our boat lazily rocks on the calm sea, dragging the torn sails and broken oars along. Right, we are in the Arabian Sea. Ooh, that is a pretty nice, maybe... Where could we be traveling here in the Arabian Sea? Maybe it's a pilgrimage. We need to somehow raise makeshift sails, or somebody will find us, I hope. Oh, somebody will find us, I hope. Are there chances of you, like, actually having to turn back, or at the very least getting delayed in events? Huh. There are also several dynamic factors that affect how dangerous provinces are. For example, holdings decrease danger, while any army activities, sieges, battle, raiding greatly increase danger. So if there are armies that are doing anything in the province, whether it's fighting, raiding, or sieging, the risk goes up. Man, I really hope that I can, like, be, I don't know, a pilgrim. And the pilgrimage routes are very dangerous, so I walk past that and the army goes, sorry, if you want to pass, you gotta pay us. Man, I would love that stuff to pieces. But so that confirms what I said, or what I theorized in that previous video, where I said maybe if a holding has no actual holding, right? Like a barony doesn't have a holding, that increases the danger of the natural risk. And you can see it right here as well. Holdings decrease danger because there is some degree of civilization right there. While there's always a possibility of encountering danger, a well-prepared traveler who invests in their safety will encounter dangerous events far less frequently. So we can basically get rid of these events, and these events, if we don't get rid of them, might kill us, or, you know, might kill our companions like Budislav right here. Right, so how do I prepare to set out on the open road? Glad you asked. Let's take a look at the brand new travel planner. So we've taken a look at this already. We've taken a look at this when it came to a grand wedding in Ireland. But I love to see this, okay? And I wish, man, I said this in one of the last videos as well, and I want to just state this here. Obviously, this has huge potential. We should not be looking at that potential right now, though. We need to look at whether it engages us in the way that it is. And, you know, color me engaged, I guess. So, what do we have right here? We are in beautiful, beautiful Bavaria, or, you know, borderline, I guess. And we're going to the Vaticano. This is a pious pilgrimage right here. We have an intent that is reflection. We just want to relax. Girls just want to have fun. We have normal activity options right here, I guess. And then we got a caravan master. We're paying her. She doesn't really care for us. Our speed is 118%, we have 35 safety, and that is a measure of 1 to 100, so we are like somewhere in the lower third. Then we have a cultural ambassador, and we have circumspect, which I'm not sure what it does, but look at that. We also have major danger. So we have major danger, normal danger, and lower danger. And major danger are all of these mountains, which is what just happened, right? The guy actually fell in the mountainside, because I guess that you don't have whoever stops the mountains from being dangerous. All of this stuff is low danger. I wonder, is this because we're disliked? Is it county control, maybe? Oh, maybe county control just implies many bandits, right? Obviously, we do have debuffs, we have bandit modifiers, but maybe that does actually influence it directly. This here is higher. Man, I want a breakdown of each of these individually. But what this means, okay, is that if I go on a pilgrimage to Rome and I go via the Alps, I must cross the Alps now. I gotta cross the damn Alps. If I come from anywhere else, let's say I come from Iberia, I just take a ship, I land in Rome, I'm good. No risk, except obviously at the sea. Again, I just said this. I don't want to dream, because we need to look at whether this is engaging us right now, and I think the travel planning will be incredibly engaging, but I gotta tell you, man, I would love to have crusades like this. Armies like, okay, you know what I'm saying, right? Let's just skip through this and let's actually take a look at how the traveling works and how we can get rid of dangers. The Caravan Master, which is this lady right here in the screenshot. Along with the travel system, we introduce the Caravan Master as a new court position. The Caravan Master is the face of your journey and handles all the banal, practical aspects to traveling. Hiring a skilled character will increase both your speed and safety while providing some passive bonuses to army movement speed, supply limit, and court grandeur. So there are some general modifiers coming from this position, but in general, you will basically always, I guess, want to have one, because, yeah, otherwise, this travel will take ages, right? What interests me here, actually, and I wish that they elaborated on this, but they don't, at least not from what I can tell. We're looking at a situation, oh, right, this is Klingenberg. We are the Emperor. That makes perfect sense. We're going to Rome as the Emperor. I love it. Jutta of the Holy Roman Empire is our sister, so we are the Emperor, right? What interests me here is that the aptitude for this very clearly is determined by a number of factors, because both of these are poor, but she is giving 16 speed and 8 safety, and he is giving 10 speed and 13 safety, where on the other hand, this guy is terrible, but his stats all in all here are actually better. I guess the aptitude also influences. I guess he just gives like less grandeur, less army speed, that sort of stuff, but in general, there are clearly many things that go into what actually is going on with how fast and how safe we are. Interesting to see. So this seems to be a fairly complex calculation. And you look at that. Army movement speed +1 to +5%. Who are we hovering over here? Nobody. Supply limit +2 to +10% based on aptitude. So, oh yeah, right. These are the minimums and the maximums. And monthly grandeur change +1 to +5%. I wonder how aptitude is calculated, but it seems to be somewhat complex at the very least. Then we have travel options. We are peer selected. Higher cultural ambassadors, and circumspect, which I don't even know what that word means, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time you set out on a journey, you have the chance to pick 2 travel options. So the Caravan Master is a permanent court position, and these travel options are just for this journey. These additional features provide a range of possible bonus when added to your travel. Higher experienced captains, higher mercenary guards, higher jungle stalker, mountaineer, forder, desert warrior, forest guide. So I would want a mountaineer to deal with this right here. A forest guide for this. What is this? Hills? Maybe the hills are also included in the mountaineer. That would make the most sense, I think. And a forder, obviously, whenever I need to cross a major river, which are marked right here, right? This thing, not this is not a major river. This thing right there. And these can help me reducing the danger that stems from those locations, right? So if yeah, we definitely need a mountaineer so the guy doesn't fall off the cliff. And since so many dangers seem to be coming from human danger, not sure whether this is because the owner of the holding doesn't like us or the holding doesn't have control. Who knows? There's probably a lot going into this. If we had a guard, maybe we can fully get rid of this danger. This danger here seems high. I'm not sure why that is. Anyway, most travel options have an associated cost for the benefits they provide. Hiring experienced sea captains will add a salty sea dog to your entourage, thus making your journey across open water safer. Some are unlocked by buildings in your domain or your character's traits. To illustrate, if you have built stables or camelries up to level 4 or higher, you can unlock the superior mounts travel option and get a nice boost to speed. It costs nothing, of course, since you own the stables already. Okay, involving buildings in this is really cool. Buildings as they are right now in Crusader Kings III are super boring. I'm sorry to say this, right? I've done the runs, I've played in Sjælland, and I've built only the buildings that give me development and so on. I've done all that stuff, but beyond that, it's super boring. You just stack the modifiers, that's it. Now, you got this, and all of a sudden you're considering, okay, wait a minute, I like to go on journeys, I like to do this and that, so like I want bonuses for this or that travel guide, right? What do we have here? We got superior mounts, train knights, superior armaments, make haste, and circumspect. Superior mounts, travel speed plus 20, any of your held baronies, at least one of these, courier stations or camel markets. Your experience, stable hands, outfits your entourage with the finest mounts in all the realm. Oh, very, very cool. Train Knights. We got an explanation for this right here. Another example is the Train Knights travel option, which is unlocked by having military academies built in your domain. When selected, 3 of your least skilled knights are added to your entourage. It increases your safety, and there is a chance for each knight to increase their skills along the journey. I need more of this. This so far, so I get all the other travel options. Obviously, they will impact what sort of events and what sort of participants in these events, right, I would be getting. Let's say I go into the mountains and I don't have a mountaineer. If something were to happen, the risk already seems to be lower, I would expect that the mountaineer then goes, oh, I know where Budislav is, I'm a mountaineer, I know what's happening, right? Train Knights. I'm so interested in what would happen there. If you find bandits, man, this is cool. I need as much as possible of this, because so something that they say later, but they haven't explained it here yet, is the fact that if you hire any of these travel options right here, right, it will attempt to hire a guy that fits the description as much as possible and already exists. If that isn't the case, then they will generate a character. But what I really want and what I really care for is this sort of stuff. Train knights. I want to have knights that are bad, that learn something from the journey, and then come back home to me. I need as many of these, because this is really cool. Any travel option that makes it so that whatever happens to me, I can take it home with me, and that sort of is a memory that we share from that journey, the better it is. So this is, I love seeing this. Travel safety goes up. Count Czaslaw, Count Konrad, and Count Jaromir travel with you. You bring along your weakest knights to train and learn from the challenges to be faced in the open, on the open road. That is really cool. Man, I hope that this is maybe tied to traditions as well. There are so many ideas that I have for this, right? You got buildings, you got just generally characters, you got traditions, you could have personalities. I really love these travel options, actually, because that makes it so that every journey has the potential of fulfilling different requirements, right, for what sort of events you're getting. We talked about this in the other video as well. The big issue could be getting repetitive events. If you have these sort of variables that you can adjust as you journey, that you can adjust depending on where you're playing, who you're playing, what is going on in your country, what time you are in, right? Are you in 867? Are you in 1366? This stuff here is something that I really like. I hope they went deep on this. While it's not required to select travel options, especially for short journeys, they can prove quite useful when setting out on a longer journey, such as a pilgrimage. This is also a way to affect which characters join your entourage, the group of characters who travel at your side. Some characters, such as your court physician and bodyguard, will automatically join your entourage if you employ those court positions. Otherwise, your entourage is primarily composed of characters relevant to the activity to which you are traveling. Your knights will join you for tournaments, for example. Oh, I wonder how much freedom we have when it comes to choosing, and maybe the devs responded here in the thread. I actually need to check this out, but I wonder how much freedom we have when it comes to choosing who travels with us, because, okay, so there are some positions that just travel with you, then there are some people that will travel with you based on what sort of activity you're going to. I would love, for example, though, let's say I'm Muslim, right, and let's say my son is over the age of 16. I would like to take my son, or maybe my whole family, quite frankly, to go on a Hajj with me, right? I would like to share this experience, have this be a shared experience that we can reminisce towards. Yeah, I would actually, I'm really curious. This sounds like it's mostly automated. Well, anyway, custom route editor. When planning a journey, this stuff is insane. Watch this. You will always be presented with the shortest path towards your destination. But perhaps you really don't want to travel through a rival's land, or maybe you always wanted to see the splendor of Rome. Well, fear not. We have included a custom route editor. So you can basically say, I want to go to Abensberg on the way to the Vaticano, and then I want to go and see Bregenz, which is right here, on my way to Klingenberg when I return. So we boom, go like this, and then boom, we return like this. I absolutely love this. This is, we talked about this as well. How much could you possibly customize it? Is it bound by certain targets? How much micro can you basically do of this? and you can determine very particular locations. Oh, I don't want to go through my rival's land. We're avoiding the red, I want to say the red icon here in Innsbruck, right? It was in this location, actually. Right. So we're avoiding this painting. We're no longer going there. It's just nothing related to us, right? What we have right here is a tool that I really hope, similar to what I just talked about with the different travel options that we have, that they used excessively. I want to be able to, you know, for example, go on a pilgrimage and then say, okay, I will visit this duke. He lives right over there. Maybe my actual target of seduction lives over there. Now, I'm not sure whether this is in, because this is not something that is being discussed. And yet again, I'm like here talking about potentially, right? But that stuff's insane. I really, really like the customized route. I want to see how far I can take it. I want to see, you know, just how much better it is. I want to decide in character whether I just take a boat to Jerusalem or whether I just take a boat to Santiago, whether I walk the route. What do I do? Where do I get on? Where do I get off? What do I actually take part in? I love seeing this. The travel option, originally I thought, wasn't capable of this. When it came to the customized route that we saw, we talked about this. I just cut into it very, very lightly in the earlier videos. I said, oh, I wonder what that is, like how deep can you go? This is deeper than I expected. I expected like, oh, hey, customized routes. You can choose 2 stops. You know, that's it. That's all you can do. And the stops have to be in particular locations, that sort of thing. It doesn't appear that way. You can fully choose where you want to go. We allow you to customize your route by adding waypoints along your path. If employed cunningly, you may be able to avoid assassins hired by your nemesis, or gaze upon up at Caesar's needle from the hallowed streets of Rome. I absolutely adore this. Huge fan. I wanna walk. I want to be brazen. I want to go through my rival's land sometimes, you know, when I go on a pilgrimage. I want to show that I do not care, that I can pass through unharmed. I want to assert authority. Sometimes I might just want to avoid, you know, the lands of my ex-wife. You gotta do what you gotta do. I love this. This is so much more than I thought it would be. And I'm really looking forward to actually planning with this. Man, I gotta tell you, this aspect alone is blowing me away. Everything that we have up here already really neat for sort of customizing your content, but this is king. Let's talk about additional notes before we move on to tools. Since travel inevitably touches nearly every aspect of the game, I figured I'd spend some time here at the end attempting to answer a few questions that are sure to arise. The focus of this expansion has been to create a travel system that will specifically work for getting characters to and from activities. So the travel system is fairly narrow in its scope there because it looks at, is there an activity at the end of this, yes or no? With that said, we have endeavored to make this system as flexible as possible for future work and iterations, which is why it's a free feature. The travel mechanic has also been integrated into smaller activities such as Meet Peers, Grand Blot, and Grand Rite. We're currently working on integrating the mechanic into more game systems. This means this will not be something that when I need to go to the toilet one county over, that I will be in a position where I have to travel there. But this means that they are expanding wherever they can, wherever it is suitable, wherever it makes sense. I'm going to be honest with you. Even if this was purely... So what I didn't expect, just for the record, what I didn't expect at all to play a role here is Warfare. I mean, that one is out, right? Warfare is just its own layer. It is what it is. I didn't expect them to use this outside of activities. There was a message left by Oxycon, and she was talking about that they were looking, that they were making a pass, they were taking a look what they could, right? Anything that goes beyond activities is beyond my expectations. I'll be honest with you. We see here, for example, some schemes are still completable while you or your target is traveling. For example, you can still sway a character or attempt to learn their language while either of you are traveling. You cannot, however, attempt to seduce someone who is not in your location. The power of letters only goes so far. These schemes will be frozen until both characters are no longer traveling. So you don't need to go to them to do it, but you need to not be traveling. And then it's assumed that somewhere in between you sort of meet, right? I'm going to be honest with you, I think that is completely fine. When it comes to schemes, I personally never really expected to include that. Maybe what I was hoping for, what I am still hoping for, and they are sort of saying this, they're saying maybe your rival is going to send assassins after you. Whether that is scheme related or random event related, I do not know. But the more important part here is that schemes, in my opinion, unless they get a major revamp, shouldn't necessitate your location, because when you kill somebody, when you kidnap somebody, when you do anything hostile, for example, you got agents. You are not the person that will be there. I would love it if, you know, the agents then have to walk back the prisoner that we just took, if we kidnap, for example, somebody, into my prison. I doubt it. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I've seen arguments about like, oh, schemes should fully include this as well. I honestly don't think so. Unless schemes get a full overhaul, you already have this mechanic now. Schemes fundamentally, right, are something that you do from a distance. You scheme from home, maybe you're involved directly, but more likely than not, you're in a position where you hire people to do the deed. If you want to do it yourself, you got the bloody wedding, I assume that there will be other options going forward, right, with activity murder, and that in itself then will directly be a situation where it's not a scheme, travel is involved, it's an activity. This is great. I hope that they go over it as much as possible. I hope that they find as many events, as many small things, such as, for example, Meet the Peers, where these things can work. I'm still really hoping for petitions and an homage to actually require me to travel to my liege's capital. I'm really hoping for those, because they're not plots, they're none of that. They are travel here. But yeah, obviously schemes, it's just a different topic. I love that they do go into the direction where they say the goal here was to make activities something that you travel to, and we are trying to push it further wherever we can. Obviously not everywhere, but we're going to try to push it further. Huge fan. I know you're all eager for things like trade routes, so are we. That won't be coming in this expansion, but it's something we have an eye on in for the future. Yes, trade. Okay, listen. I need that. I really need that. Let's talk about tours though, okay? So travel is the baseline. Whenever you go to an activity for smaller stuff like rent plots and whatnot, everybody travels to this location, right? And then the grand rides as well, right? And tours are traveling activities in their own right. So this is something that is on top of the very basic travel layer, where you hire travel options, where you hire a caravan leader, and so on and so forth, where you do basic settings. Tours are one of the grand activities that you can do that are DLC material. Hello, 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 I am Mecha66, and it has been a while since I was last able to write a dev diary, way back in my Hearts of Iron days. Today I'm here to talk to you about grand tours. What is a tour? Well, more broadly, a grand tour is your opportunity to use the travel system to hold royal visits across your realm, bringing you closer to your direct vassals and giving you the opportunity to get closer to sub-realms, usually in your periphery, yielding powerful rewards to help you manage your unruly subjects, both noble and lowborn. Right. This right here is the tour planner, Majesty Tour. Some events will allow especially majestic actions. Taking these earns prestige and vassal opinions, both when departing from a stop and at the end of your grand tour. This is all work in progress art, by the way, but I think we can already recognize the general tendency of this. We got a Majesty Tour, an Intimidation Tour, and a Taxation Tour. These are the types of tours that we have. Primarily, you will be visiting vassals, choosing from one of the three things to do in your visit: tour the grounds, attend a dinner, or attend a cultural festival. Each of these will yield different rewards, both for the realm you're visiting and for yourself personally. Let's start with tour the grounds. Okay. I am the King of France, and I am going to tour my realm. This is a Majesty Tour, as you can see. And these are locations, destinations that I can pick, that I can stay in. We already have a healthy tour going. We start with Duke William of Normandy, Count Geoffrey III of Anjou, Emery IV, Guillaume, and Robert. So we're going basically from Paris like this, okay? This is the route that we take. We visit our realm. Man, this is so good. As you can see, there are a whole bunch of different destinations that we could still select. The locations you can pick from are displayed on the map. The further away from the previous stop your destination is, the more gold you will spend on your tour. Plan wisely to reduce costs and visit as many vassals as possible. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can get a maximum of 10 stops, and France is pretty small. If you envision the Holy Roman Empire, for example, and let's say your capital is in Bavaria, going from Bavaria all the way to the north and all the way to the south to Italy will be very expensive. This is just French travel. And per station here, which appears to be the minimum price, it will cost you 48 bucks. This seems pretty expensive, which it should be. It should be. I love that, okay? This here is, I assume, tour the grounds. This is a banquet. And then this right here is the cultural festival. This is the culture icon right there. We're visiting all these folks and we're not visiting these folks. I wonder whether the folks we don't visit will be unhappy with us. Look at that beard, by the way. I don't think he had a beard in previous patches, did he? Willy? Anyway, here you can plan your route around your kingdom. Oh my god, man. I remember the empire that we founded in that infamous CK3 series that has or has not been abandoned. Who knows? This travel here, that is amazing. So you per person basically choose which activity you do, which gives you different outcomes, different opportunities. and then you move on. Okay, let's continue. I love this, I'm sorry. Stops. Tour the grounds. Grand tour touring the grounds of Purushapura. My arrival at Prince Masood's castle in Purushapura is marked with fanfare, befitting the Sultan of the realm, and the locals are clearly awed by the grandeur and pomp of my escort. My son and I embrace, careful to dutifully maintain the formality of the occasion. Oh, it's our son! Masood outlines the planned tour and assures me Purushapura is so fair and fine a land that merely gazing on the towns and fields will be entertainment enough. Only time will tell. Can I, if I'm the vassal of this, and we do know, by the way, I will do these tours, if I'm the vassal of this, I can pick where I want to bring my liege. Oh my god, okay. So what do we have here? This is a special window. This is a special window. You can see this is the General Grand Tour window. This is the Majesty Tour Success scale, the levels. We're going to see some more commentary on this later. This is our intent. It's recreation right now, and we have such fun. Begin the Tour the Grounds activity. So you will travel there. On your travel there, you will have events, depending on where you are, what you're passing through, and so on. Then you arrive somewhere, they say, okay, hey, let's start this activity. You start that activity, you do that activity, you get out of there, you travel again, start a new activity. Man, this is going to be such a massive undertaking when you actually do a grand tour where you visit 10 of your vassals and check all of their stuff out with different activities spaced out. Your intent, I'm so curious how much the intent matters. Anyway, every county title within Masood's realm, the control level will change by +10. You gain prestige and you lose stress. Right. When touring the grounds of your vassal's holding, you are having a look around at daily life in your vassal's capital, visiting the village, hanging around their holding, and exploring their hunting grounds. Overall, this results in a boost in control in counties within your vassal's realm, since it is difficult to ignore the authority of the king when he's right on your doorstep. Okay, Grand Tour disloyal subjects. Here our intent is justice. We're going to see more intents in just a bit. This is Roger of Sicily. Well, Roger of Sicily. I find myself curious to see how the lowlifes of Messina live, so I pay a visit to an establishment where the locals seem to be growing quite rowdy. One man stands atop a table, commanding the attention of everyone in earshot. What do we even need a count for anyway? Roger bleeds us dry with these bloody taxes, yet he expects our undying loyalty. The entire building erupts into thumping and applause. Clearly, my count is not popular in his own home. Right, arrest these traitors. I'm Prison Hermann. Oh! Right, wait, why is Roger, why is he a count? What happened here, huh? As I have a fair reason, no one will think me a tyrant. We can arrest this guy. We could say, we could fight him. Or, we could say, yeah, the count sucks. Alright, oh, wow. Look at this guest list. That is a massive guest list. 30 people? I'll be coming here with our entire court. Who even are we, though? I'm not quite sure who we are. We're not the Byzantines because this isn't marked. But he is meant to be the Duke of this land. Anyway, one of many opportunities to raise control in your vassal's holdings. Ah. I don't know. Majesty Tour Success. We are focused on justice. Is this justice? Is this like intent or is this tour related? We're still not sure about the intent. I think we're going to see in a second, though. Right, Grand Tour Precarious Prey. This one is intent recreation. With my hunting bow at my side, a member of my party alerts me to the presence of a stag just below an embankment near our location. Standing at the edge of the cliff, I should be able to pierce its heart. It looks like a difficult shot, but if I make it, I will undoubtedly impress my entire procession. The ground appears a little unsteady, but with careful footing, I should be able to slay the beast without issue. This should be easy, or let's have someone else take the shot. The Grand Tour becomes more majestic if we do make it, but it's very unlikely, or I wound myself. So very clearly, this goes quite heavily into giving you challenges, right? This one, I assume this one right here isn't going to trigger a duel or something. Maybe it is, but it's just a peasant at the end of the day. This might also be a challenge. There's no challenge here because, I mean, he's just like, welcome. Also, nice event background, by the way. This one I know. I think this one is... No, this one is new, I think, right? Nice event background. I really like this one. Grand Tour settling in for dinner. I receive a welcome worthy of a duke at the gates of Count Abelard's castle in Kamada, and there is little doubt the splendor in my train has made a great impression. Yeah, we are him here. We are Roger. This is a rare opportunity to enjoy myself in the good company of a son of House Hauteville. Abelard explains the planned evening banquet, promising the entertainments and victuals on offer will near the standards of my own court's dinners. Count Abelard of Kamada assures me that this is only the finest food he has to offer. Let's begin. Oh. So this is not technically a feast. This is your vassal basically being told the liege wants to eat. Yeah, I definitely misinterpreted that then. If you remember the Vratislav screenshot, I misinterpreted that. I thought at the time that we were doing a tour and our vassal was doing, yeah, you can see the symbol here actually. Our vassal was doing a tournament, but these are tour targets. These are potential tour targets. We tell them what we want, and I hope that then the vassal gets a choice of like, oh, I'm gonna serve him rats. You know what? I hate that guy. Serve him rats. You can see our first Majesty Tour success level has actually been reached. Begin the dinner activity. Interesting. So this is a hosted dinner. We just had the Tour de Grounds, and this is hosted dinner. Next up, we have the hosted dinner. The dinner is much like a feast, but far more intimate. The dinner will give you opportunities to not only share some time with your vassal and form friendships and gain hooks, but it also is an opportunity to interfere with their court, offering their courtiers a better life in the capital, becoming the guardian for your vassal's heir, and discovering secrets at your vassal's court. I need more of this. I need infinitely more of this. This is so good. So, what I always was thinking about when it comes to, for example, vassal contracts, when it comes to wards, it most of the time is such a sterile situation, okay? We were talking about this ages ago, and this doesn't seem to be in, which makes sense. It's a lot of traveling for nothing, basically, right? But I was talking about how it could be nice if I had to travel up to my vassal's capital if I wanted to make them, for example, Hand of the King, right? So a counselor. I don't think that is in. But realistically speaking, when we currently go, oh yeah, I want to have a closer connection to this guy, I'm going to send him a ward, or he's going to send me a ward, right? Which we barely ever do right now. But if we did this, it's very sterile. Because this is made as an observation of, yes, I need more points with this guy. If we travel there, and all of a sudden it comes up, we have a feast, and I say, hey, your kid should live at my court, that would be amazing. Like, that is amazing. This is literally in here, right? I want exactly that stuff because it uses the mechanics as they exist in CK3, but it gives you a non-sterile background for each of the activity. Okay, I'm sorry, seriously, this stuff is great. I arrive at dinner early today and find that I'm alone with Count Abelard Kamada's heir, Hermann. His trusting nature is infamous. Like a child, his head is empty and malleable, and it is far too easy to align his tiny mind with my vision. That is a grown man, or is that the Count? No, there's a different man. It would be all too easy to manipulate the poor thing to give me his legal pledge of loyalty early, but this would definitely upset Count Abelard Kamada. And this is altruism, right? Let's do it, or I'll just make conversation. Your attempt at injustice is noticed, your vassal will be greatly offended, or I will gain a strong hook of loyalty. Oh my god. That is massive. A strong hook doesn't go away, you can reuse it, which means that this guy will be a real sucker once he ascends to be Count. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. In the past, you'd get a strong hook, and you'd be like, okay, I got a strong hook on this guy, I guess. Now it's like during the Grand Tour, I sort of, you know, I use this guy's gullibility to get my leverage, or to get leverage on him. This is exactly what I wanted from these mechanics to make them feel less sterile. Or rather, it's more than what I wanted from it. Now, this is the Cultural Festival, which is the third activity right here. Cultural Festival in Möhre. The streets of Möhre are richly decorated for my arrival, and my vassal Count Tüke dutifully awaits me. Ah, how I yearn to delight myself in the great activities and joys that I'm sure Tüke has prepared, and to show these people the extent of my magnificence. Let's start right. Cultural festivals. Lastly, we have my personal favorite, the Cultural Festival. A realm is typically made up of all sorts of people belonging to different faiths and cultures, and what better way to demonstrate the magnanimousness of your rule than to experience the strange traditions of your subjects. If you are a highly diverse realm like Khazaria, or a stranger in a strange land like a Norman invader, this is an excellent opportunity to get some powerful bonuses to cultural acceptance. So let's say I'm William of Normandy, and I don't want to do the harrying of the north, right? I would set up a grand tour and tell most of my vassals I want to do cultural festivals. And the vassals that I really care for, where I'm like, I need your trust, I would do something like the banquet, right? And then I start touring, and I come out with who knows how much more. Ooh, this is one event with who knows much more cultural acceptance, right? Wow. That certainly changes how you can approach a realm like this. It really does. So far, the biggest source was obviously time for cultural acceptance, making a small number of arrangements and holding court events. Those actually give quite a bit of cultural acceptance. But now you have another alley with a grand tour. Streets hanging with tapestries. Ah, the smells of freshly cooked lamb. The way Tarnov shines during this time of the year. The bells toll and the locals ready themselves for mass. They animatedly chatter about the birth of Christ. There was a donkey, I tell ya, and it happened near the river, just like here. When my child comes, I hope you give him as much gold. A short play promptly follows, and the Lord is born. Such a lovely celebration. Between the Greeks and the Bulgarians. Would you look at that? Increases by 10%. Wow. And we can see right here, by the way, we are walking from Constantinople all the way up here, then all the way down here. Then we take a boat down here to Anatolia. and visit vassals there as well. This must be an insanely expensive tour. Spreading cultural acceptance around your realm by showing your subjects you embrace their traditions. Here we have the emperor visiting a Bulgarian nativity play. But no culture is a monolith, of course, and cultural festivals can still yield powerful rewards even if you're visiting a county of your own culture. Showing your respect for the customs of folks outside of the capital will result in a potent popular opinion gains, allowing you to bring your unruly subjects in line. A loyal reminder, the sky above Östergötland is clouded and the grey streamers of the night start to wander around the narrow alleys. Duke Sven's hold rises at the top of the hill, almost defiant. He could use a reminder of who he serves. I am king by divine right. The crown hangs over my head like the moon above all the other stars. No matter how brightly you shine, I prevail. Sven shall renew his homage to me, or let's just celebrate. A humble liege. This character chose to not have a lavish homage ceremony and enjoy themselves instead. Popular opinion +5. Interesting. So we can basically make them renew their oath, which I'm a huge... Man, I need this codified. I need this, the fact that they have to renew their oath. I need this in their vassal contracts. I hope they expand on that stuff as well. Anyway, these are the festivals. So, depending on how your realm is set up, if you have a very, very, very homogeneous realm, you would largely do banquets to get to know your folks better. Hope that you don't get murdered. Don't eat with people that, you know, you don't like, of course. Then you would have, if you have a very diverse realm, you would want cultural festivities, mostly, maybe. And when it comes to touring the grounds, maybe this is really useful if, you know, that would be amazing, actually. If you, let's say you do a full invasion of a kingdom, you take that over, you migrate there, let's say you're Hastine, right? You give your people land, and then you tour their grounds, give them a lot more control, which buffs up all your numbers, makes them like you more, and strengthens your realm, as, you know, previously, obviously, you didn't really have any control of the counties to begin with. I gotta tell you, I love this approach. I love what they're doing with this DLC here. And, of course, with the free travel content as well. The tour planner, oh, this is the tour we saw above. Yeah, right. So, this is where we travel, where we have the cultural festivity event. Then we go over here. We go down there. Look at that path. That is a mass... Ooh, we cross into Seljuk land. Well. Okay. Your tour consists of several stops across your realm, with one of the above activities taking place at each location. Here we have our beloved Byzantine Emperor planning a tour of his realm, having dinners with his powerful vassals, touring the grounds of his distant subjects, and observing the local culture of his Armenian and Bulgarian subjects. So, what does that scale with? I'm so curious. The French example had $48 for basically every stop. This one has 203 for just 28 days. 203 for 73 days. Oh, are we traveling like with a bigger entourage because we are an emperor? I wonder, I guess it has to be monthly income, right? But like that it scales with. But yeah, this is an insane cost. Are you kidding me? 10 stops, $2,300. You can't even see it. $2,300. It will take us 18 months. That is the exact feeling and the scale of what I want. I need this, seriously. Oh my god. A roundabout route of the Byzantine Empire. A traveling court. Man, you know what though? I can't wait for a pilgrimage. I don't know. I start maybe here, I walk to Rome. Then here I take a boat. Make it all the way right here to Jerusalem. And then I walk back to Antioch, where I then take a boat. Or maybe I walk all the way here to Constantinople and then take a boat there. I'm gonna roleplay so hard with this stuff. I'm gonna roleplay so hard. Now, a traveling court, I'm gonna tell you this right now, faked me out. There is no itinerant courts. This is just that your courts are traveling with you, okay? I'm taking the wind out of your sails before you get a false impression here. But visiting nobles isn't the only thing you're doing on your tour, of course. You're traveling with your court. On your journey, you'll get a chance to meet with your lowliest of subjects, and what you do with them exactly is up to you. You may encounter drunkards muttering of rebellion in a tavern, or be accosted by highwaymen on the road. While most travel events are just about things that happen on your journey, a tour travel event is an opportunity to remind the commoners that their liege is ever present. To this effect, we have several intents. Intents and tools determine what exactly it is you hope to do with commoners while on the road. Do you want to show charity, assert your authority, or just drink and visit brothels on your merry way across your realm? Grand tour intent. Recreation, lechery, altruism, and justice. You seek to distribute justice to even the pettiest of criminals within your realm. This often leads to an increase in control, and just characters may lose stress. This right here... Nope, this right here is a justice event then, isn't it? Because this very much sounds like prosecuting even the lowest of scum that you might normally not care for. Interesting, okay. So you get variety based... Oh, Oh man, I really like this. So, a problem with Royal Court, undoubtedly, was the fact that Royal Court said we have all of these court events, and they will have different users and people that participate in them, but fundamentally they're all the same, and they will roughly show up in like, you will basically get this repetition, right? You will get the events here, depending on who you're traveling with, what kind of travel options you have, who your caravanneer is, what you're traveling through, what your intent is, what the type of travel you're doing is. So a grand tour, let's say it's only grand tours here. You can have a majestic, a taxation, or an intimidation tour. And all of these will remix sort of your events. And the grand tour, since it has 3 options for the actual activity events, will mix that up there as well. So this sounds like these are not related to activity events at all. This sounds very, yeah, this sounds like it's an on-the-go sort of thing, right? And then when you actually have the activity right here, like the activity of the banquet, for example, that is independent of the intent. I might be misinterpreting this, but this is just how it sounds to me. Interesting. Okay, so there's a lot of potential variance in here. Let's hope, because this really feels to me like a lesson learned from Royal Court, where the repetition became far too easy and far too quickly. This really feels to me like they learned from that issue there. This feels as if they have a lot of variance in there, variance that the player can self-determine, depending on what kind of character they're playing. The altruism intent is inspired much by the concept of both charity and the royal touch. The belief that kings have the power to heal the sick just with their touch, because they are of course chosen. On an altruistic route across your realm, you will show your piousness and generosity to your realm, giving piety, popular opinion, and stress loss with the right traits, compassion, zealous, etc. So you're encouraged to pick whatever fits your character. Altruism, a healing touch. I enter County of Galatia Salutaris with my procession in tow, ready to bestow my royal touch upon the local peasantry. To my shock and horror, I'm immediately faced with what is undoubtedly the most wretched creature I've ever laid eyes on. Her is a bloody ravaged by plague and misfortune, and with minimal provocation she exposes her calloused feet just inches from her pristine hands. Much as Christ washed the feet of his disciples, I too am implored by God to wash the feet of my loyal subjects, especially those who are the most meek and unworthy. A blessing for you, a bad memory for me. Perhaps a light touch on the forehead will do. Get those filthy sausages away from me. I like this. Yeah, okay. So you will get stressed depending on who you are. Obviously, you could get sick. I hope that you can't actually catch this. That would be terrible. Interesting. An altruistic opportunity to show you're not disgusted by your subjects or not. Justice is your chance to remind commoners that the crown is ever present, and you can show justice whatever it may mean to you. This can include judging local trials, meeting with peasant leaders, and sending in your men to clear out bandits. Justice results in stress loss for the appropriate traits, and some chances to fill your dungeon and increase control along your out men. I really, I'm thinking now, it would be so cool if holding court worked with this sort of logic in mind as well. Let's say I want to hold court and I want to establish my authority for the first time. Let's say I want to hold court and I want to make sure that especially religious vassals, right, are very loyal to me. And then I could also set an intent for that. I gotta tell you, this really feels to me like lessons learned from Royal Court with all the variants that you can have here. Local justice. We arrive in a small village in Pagan to see quite a commotion in the town square. An unfortunate creature is surrounded by furious villagers. The bleak, hopeless look in her eyes fades and brightens as she notices my procession's approach. My king, these villagers say my actions have made a sinner of me, but it is all lies. Won't you give me the king's justice? True. The evidence seems circumstantial, but a lowly peasant should never speak to their king unprompted. The execution is just, the evidence is frivolous, let her go, or serving me will be her punishment. Interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. A chance to bring the crown's justice to the countryside. Lustful characters can also benefit from the lechery intent, giving them the opportunity to seek out new paramours on the road and pay visits to local brothels to reduce their stress and find new lovers. If you're a player who enjoys lustful content, this intent is for you. Otherwise, the lechery intent is entirely opt-in. Right. What you want to get out of your tour is up to you. The violet among the weeds. As we ride through Chieftain of Ulevadno, I find myself becoming infatuated with the scenery. Truly, the tiger of Ulevadno must be the fairest in all of Subme, and fairer still are the men who call it home. As my entourage escorts me through yet another lowly village, I find a particularly fair young man going about his lowly duties, and I feel my heart grow aflutter. Watching this treasure in his mundanity is like seeing poetry made flesh, and before I can even think, my heart has already commanded me to call my entourage to a halt. There's a lot of words in this Defter if you hadn't noticed. Right, so you have all your intents, what you want your character to be, and you will get those events on a preferred basis. way better. Way better than getting out of style sort of, out of context sort of events. Lastly, we have the relax intent, which is the default. In this intent, you just want to use your time on the road to visit taverns and take it easy on your tour, giving you large gains of stress reduction. The Den of Sin. As I'm stirred awake from my midnight slumber, I hear the cheers of revelry and merriment slowly approaching me from behind. Hectorius appears, his breath rank with the stench of mead. By God, there's a wonderful Den of Sin just a few minutes away, my Basileus. We must stay here a while and make ourselves stupid with merriment. Right. And then you can either do that or you don't do that. Now here we have the actual tour types, so again, you have these different things that influence what you're doing. There's more. What primarily motivates your tour is determined by your tour type, of which we have 3. Majesty, Taxation, and Intimidation. These options will determine what exactly it is you demand from your vassals when you stop by for a visit. Is it just to show how much of a great ruler you are, or is it to extract taxes? To strike fear into your unruly subjects. A Majesty tour is all about vassal opinion and prestige. During your visits, you will show your grace and magnificence to all. Right, taking these earns prestige and vassal opinion, both when departing from a stop and at the end of your grand tour. Oh, wait a minute, right, this is the Majesty Tour success bar. A Taxation Tour is all about finding those little loopholes and oversights your vassals have been taking advantage of and tying them up, and taking what is rightfully yours. You may cause some upset, but it's all worth it to fill the treasury, right? A Taxation Tour. Taking these earns gold both when departing from a stop and at the end of your grand tour. This grand tour is an opportunity to remind my vassals that I am owed taxes and obligations, and to root out any and all tax avoidance within my realm. Right. Intimidation tours are all set about showing how much your vassals should fear you. You'll get chances to do all manners of things to unsettle your subjects. Direct confrontation can be a powerful tool, and can even motivate some vassals to leave their hostile factions against you. I love this one, I gotta tell you. Which tour type are you most interested in trying first? We would love to hear your thoughts. Each time you perform an action which corresponds with your selected tour type, it will increase this tour success bar here. We saw that a number of times above. The rewards you get at the end of your tour will scale and change depending on just how successful you've been in achieving your goals. And if done right, it can be a powerful tool for strengthening and stabilizing your realm. So what you get at the end is determined by how much you lean into this. Interesting. Tours are a big investment in both time and money, but they also yield powerful and long-lasting rewards. Everything from cultural acceptance to control to dread to prestige. A tour is an all-encompassing realm management tool, taking a court on the road and bringing the presence of the crown wherever it is needed. That's all for now. We'll be around to answer questions as always. See you next week, when we'll talk about some of the smaller but broader systemic changes that we've made to vassals, buildings, men-at-arms, and more. I'm really looking forward to this, but let's just top off this dev diary by quickly summarizing. Travel will be in the free patch. You have this massive framework behind travel where you can customize your route massively and avoid different struggles. Go into very specific struggles that you might be prepared for. What you can have as travel options is determined by your buildings, by just your general money income and so on. Hopefully also by traditions and such. I would be really happy about this. Didn't see it here though. And then on top of that, you have the Grand Tour, which allows you to visit up to 10 of your vassals and then do 3 different activities, one of these 3, in each of the vassals' holdings. And you can set an intent for yourself and for the tour overall. I like this. I think this is really great. I'm just gonna say it, okay? Last week, again, very skeptical, and I think it's very healthy to be skeptical and cautious here, but I said I don't want a feature where I say, oh yeah, this could be for trade, this could do X, Y, Z. This is that feature. This feature is engaging as it is. I'm really looking forward to this, and that is just Grand Tours. Not to mention, of course, that travel in itself will change the dynamics significantly. Ah, man. Now, before we end this, let's just jump into a couple of developer responses right here. This right here is a response that I was wondering about, and it's so good to see this. AI lieges will instigate tours, and they are actually made slightly more likely to visit a vassal if that vassal is a player. This diary was already monstrously long, so I didn't dedicate a section to it, but being visited on a tour is a core part of tour design. Thank God, Mecha. And you will have opportunities to get hooks, relationships, and opinion with your liege should they choose to visit you on their route. Some of your liege's entourage may also decide they like your realm better and ask to settle into your court for good, and vice versa, allowing for some interesting exchanges of courtiers during a tour. Thank you. Thank you, God. The biggest issue that I have with petitions and such is that it's one-sided. It is a player thing to do, right? Holding court, fundamentally, player thing to do. This thing, two-sided. You're a vassal, you're just relaxing, you're not doing anything, boom, you are all of a sudden a part of this tour and you gotta decide what you gotta do. Thank you. Thank you for confirming this indeed. Now, here we got some questions. I'll try to answer the tour-related questions here and leave travel for the travel team. Dinners do indeed include opportunities to increase your character's weight. Right. A vassal can choose to welcome their liege or turn them away, but beware, as turning away your liege can have consequences, especially if your liege is not so forgiving. Turning away your liege is a grave, grave misjudgment of what you are allowed to do as a vassal in this time period. Your actual hospitality is a duty, because that is the position that you have in the hierarchy. 10 stops is the limit now, for right now, for Grand Tours. Fair enough. Honestly, I gotta be honest with you. With the prices, I think this is fair. I like the idea of not being able to visit the entire realm. I just hope that if I visit the realm, if I do a Grand Tour, and I don't visit a particular very powerful vassal, that he will go, what the hell is going on over here? For all tour types, including intimidation, each time you depart from a stop, you make a demand. Taxation is money, majesty is a show of submission, and intimidation is a promise to not join factions. Your vassal can always refuse this demand, and how likely they are to do so depends on what your demand is and some general personality checks. So your brave and unruly vassals are more likely to refuse an intimidation demand. Okay, I'm really, really eager. We saw this actually earlier, right? This must be exactly this. Let me just grab this here. This must be this, right? This is a majesty tour, and you can say, I need your homage right now. You need to pledge loyalty to me once more. If you take a look at this, taxation is money, majesty is a show of submission. So you can just say, don't do it, but if you do it, they have a time to respond. There is no, okay, I say I do it, and this is it, this is settled. The vassal can say no, and if you're a vassal, you can say no. Very big fan. And this is good news. I wish it went further, but it is a good step. There are some events and outcomes here and there in both tours and travels that are influenced by cultural traditions. Yes, for example, you're more likely to enjoy your dinner if your host has the culinary artist tradition. I need this interwoven as much as possible, because cultures, it's the best part of CK3, right? It's so damn good. And the more that is impacted, the more I notice that I, the emperor of the Eastern Roman Empire, has just gone to a court that is, I don't know, Persian, right? Or well, to a holding. The more I notice that, the better it is, in my opinion. Alright folks, and that is everything that you need to know when it comes to the dev diary and the dev responses. This is a massive, massive piece of content. I underestimated it. Obviously, this is not content where now, oh, I need to build a building over here, now I need to go there. That's not how it works. We got ladders, we got scribes, we know how that works, right? Schemes largely still something, of course, that will work just by you not needing to travel, but ultimately I think that is perfectly fine because, well, schemes again use agents and that is the way it is. I'm really looking forward to the travel system as a whole. I'm really looking forward what we can do with that in mods, but I really am looking forward what it is doing in vanilla already. I like the way that you can plan your tours. I love the way that you can change your intent and your tour purposes, making it so that you will get different results. And in the next dev diary, we're going to cover a rework that comes a bit of a surprise. They did mention they changed vassals a little bit, but that it gets its own dev diary shows that maybe there's something more going on there. I'm excited for that as well, because the more non-sterile vassal management is made, like it is here with the Grand Tour, the better for me. I want to have close personal relationships with my vassals. I want them to hate me for good reasons rather than just my generic traits. Let's hope that this goes, that these dev diaries will continue to going into this direction, because man, this has blown me away. You tell me what you think, and for the moment I will leave it here and see you later, alligator.